Welcome to our 14th lecture, and this lecture is based on carrier added distance scheme for transmission lines. Okay, up till now we have seen all types of relays. Now we'll see carrier added distance scheme for transmission lines. Owing to the installation of compensation devices, distribution reforms and deregulated environment, modern power systems closely operate near to their stability limits. Hence, fault clearing times becomes more and more important. Failure to comply the said requirement may result in instability of the system, and in the worst case it may lead to shutdown of larger parts of the network or complete blackout. Various protection methods are used to protect EHV and UHV transmission lines. In next semester we will see power system stability. In that we will see what is effect of clearing time. This effect of clearing time, that means clearing time should be earlier or it should be less than the stability limit. If it crosses the stability limit, definitely there will be instability. Okay, current based protection scheme cannot be used as it does not provide instantaneous operation through the entire length. Moreover, it suffers with the problem of transient overreach. Distance protection, which is free from communication channel, if distance protection, if we are using distance protection, if we are using relays without communication channel, is the most widely used form of protection, is free from communication channel is the most widely used form of protection for EHV and UHV lines. However, they have several limitations. If we are using distance protection without communication channel, then they have several limitations. What are that? As we know, it protects only 80% parts, so definitely only 80% parts. Definitely if it is radial feeder, then 80% part comes in primary zone. Okay, and second is we are mostly the faults are line to ground fault. Okay, so that's why if we are using distance protection without communication channel, then it will not be protecting 100%. If we are using distance protection with the communication channel, then it will give complete form of protection, and it is called as carrier added distance protection. Hence, due to the said two reasons, distance relay cannot be used to protect an important long EHV and UHV lines. Distance relays solely is not protecting 100% line. We have to use communication channel. We have to use communication channel which will protect 100% of the transmission line. Here I can explain. If we are using this length of transmission line, it between A and B. Okay, suppose transmission line is connected between generator A and generator B, then this is your 100% transmission line. Okay, distance protection, we are protecting due to two concept, underreach and overreach. We are protecting this 80% part. Okay, so for relay R1 this is 80% part. If it is double infeed system, for relay R2 from this end to this is 80% part. Now out of this total 60, this 20% from A side and this 20% from B side. So this 20 plus 20, 40. Out of 100%, 40%, you can see this 20% comes in zone 2 for relay B, and this 20% comes in zone 2 of relay A. So this as well as this is delayed protected, while this 60% part of transmission line is have primary protection or instantaneous protection, and that's why we need communication channel in addition to the distance relays. Okay, in order to achieve instantaneous fault clearing at both ends, the pilot protection requires a communication channel to exchange information from one end of the line to the other end. Okay, suppose fault is here at near to the relay R2, so Definitely this fault near to the R2 is above is 80%. So relay R1 will not detect in its first zone, while for relay R1 will not detect in its first zone. Okay, while for relay R2 it is in the primary zone or first zone. So definitely relay R2 will detect. So what we can do, we can send the relay R2 will send signal to R1 that fault has occurred in our zone. So you have, so simultaneous operation of both relays is possible using communication channel. Both relay and R2 provide instantaneous protection for internal fault occurring within approximately 60% portion of transmission line, whereas remaining 40% section will be cleared by time delayed zone 2 protection of the both relays. Okay, so in order to achieve instantaneous fault clearing at both end, pilot protection requires a communication channel which can send signal from both ends to exchange information from one end to the line to other end. This type of effective of pilot protection scheme depends on capability of applied communication channel. So basic block diagram of pilot protection scheme: we have communication equipment at this end, we have communication equipment at this end, we have transmitter receiver at this end. If you are using microwave channel, if you are using power line carrier communication, then we are using transmitter receiver at this end, we are having transmitter receiver at this end. Therefore these signals are supplied to the respective communication equipment which transmit them at other end of the line. As the information from both ends of the line is available, the relay at each end operate instantaneously for the fault within the zone of protected line. So within this 100%, if communication channel is available, this R1 will send signal to R2, okay, for fault in between this 20%, while this R2 will send signal to R1 if fault in between this 20%. So definitely 100% protection is possible. The signaling system which is used to transfer the signal between two ends of the transmission line is known as pilot system. Okay, is known as pilot system. And if it is connected with the wire, definitely that wire should have minimum resistance. That's why also it is called as pilot system, because it is having minimum resistance, so less voltage drop. The term pilot refers to the communication medium such as wire. If it is wire, then resistance must be minimum. Then microwave, power line carrier. Power line carrier is PLCC, power line carrier communication, fiber optic and satellite. Various equipment used in pilot protection. We are using CTPTs, we are using contents transducer, logical system, decision logic block. Teleprotection equipment takes data from the relay and injects the data into the telecommunication equipment. Teleprotection block contains various equipment such as coupling capacitor, line trap, modem, sparks, gaps, etc. Telecommunication block includes different equipment which are used for transmission of data in the text form, voice form or binary form. Now we will see what are the different pilot communications. Pilot communication based on signal, pilot communication based on frequency. Pilot communication based on signal means which signal you are transmitting. If it is analog, whether it is analog signal or whether it is digital signal. In this signal, all information such as amplitude of the quantity, system frequency, phase shift and width of the pulse of infinite number of levels are considered at regular intervals between the specified minimum and maximum levels. Here analog signal is transmitted, here digital signal is transmitted. In this signal, all information of a limited number of levels is passed in digital form. Pilot communication based on frequency, either it is based on signal or either it is based on frequency. Okay, this direct current we are transferring certain depending on the requirement. Pilot protection uses different frequency of the signal. Comparing comprising a broad bandwidth from DC to visible spectrum. These are discussed here. This DC generally we are not using. It is completely absolute. Power frequency. Power frequency means we are having power frequency in India, we are having 50 hertz, while in other countries, in US it is having 60 hertz. So it depends. Okay. In order to use power system, fundamental frequency for transmission, a pair of pilot wires are connected across the secondary of the city on both ends of the line. This arrangement is widely known as pilot wire relaying scheme. That means if we are transferring signals using power frequency, then we need to connect that CT to that relaying equipment, CT and communication channel with the wires. Okay, and that is connected to the other end, while other end is connected through the wires. Okay, this is called as pilot wire relaying scheme. This will see. Audio frequency. Normal audio frequency 0.02 to 20 kilohertz. Again, this scheme we are not using. This is obsolete. Now, power line carrier frequency. This generally we are using. This is the most commonly used communication channel for relaying. Power line carrier frequency means the same transmission line through which we are transferring power. The same transmission line is used to transmit the carrier signal. Okay, because carrier signal have higher frequency than the power frequency, so that can be transferred, and measures will be taken so that it should not interfere with the other telecommunication equipment or telecommunication channel. The normal range of power line carrier frequency is 30 to 600 kilohertz. In this scheme, relaying signal is modulated and transmitted to the other end of the transmission line. A coupling capacitor is used to couple high frequency carrier signal with the power system fundamental frequency to high voltage conductor of the line. This coupling capacitor plays an important role. What it will do? The coupling capacitor will couple power frequency. Coupling capacitor will couple carrier frequency to the power to the. It will couple means it will transmit that carrier frequency through the transmission line which carries signals at power frequency. So this coupling capacitor provides high impedance to the power frequency, while low impedance to the carrier frequency. So that low impedance means definitely that carrier frequency can be sent through the transmission lines. The problem of induced voltage is negligible as the frequency of carrier is much higher than the power system frequency. Though the primary goal of this scheme is protection, definitely it can be used for telecommunication, data transfer and signaling purposes. Radio frequency. Next is radio frequency. Power frequency and then carrier frequency and radio frequency. Radio frequency in the range of kilohertz to gigahertz. 10 kilohertz to 0.1 gigahertz. Okay. In order to use radio frequency as a carrier, the utility had to acquire a license for that region of radio spectrum. However, this medium is not used because of maloperation of pilot protection scheme due to interference with the other frequency bands. Microwave. In microwave, we have 0.3 to 3 gigahertz. Okay, this generally we are using. Also, we are using this as the electromagnetic wave propagates in a straight line. This medium is free from refraction by the ionosphere and has a little interference from lightning. Furthermore, as its bandwidth is much wider than that of carrier channel, it can carry more information and it does not suffer from interference. Next is fiber optics. The wavelength of signal in the fiber optic link is about 0.85 to 1.6. Okay, as the frequency of signal in a fiber optic link is much higher than that of microwave signal, the communication capacity of fiber optic link is very high. Moreover, fiber optic link is immune to electromagnetic interference because of its insulating property. So also we are using this fiber optic communication. Furthermore, it is free from induced voltage. In addition, there is no need of repeaters to transmit information from one end to other end for long EHV and UHV transmission line. These are types of pilot communication. Now, as we have seen, initially it started from wire. It is initially started from term pilot refers to communication medium such as wire, microwave, power line, fiber optic and satellite. So we'll see wire pilot protection, where connection is made, connection of communication equipment is made through physical wire. The wire pilot relay scheme is divided into two basic groups: circulating current based wire pilot relay scheme. Okay, here circulating current based scheme. Okay, then in that operating coil and restraining coil. Under normal condition, pre-fault and normal condition, the CT secondary current flows through the restraining coil of each current balance relay, whereas no current is present in the operating coil. When it is normal condition, no current present. If it is fault, conversely, in case of fault on the line, the CT secondary current for the far end CT reverses, and hence the current will flow through the overcurrent of both relays. There are several methods to combine three-phase current into one signal. One of the method is use of summing transformer. Here, three-phase current is converted into single current, one signal. Voltage. Second is circulating current based wire pilot protective scheme, and second is voltage balance type wire pilot protective scheme, relaying scheme. Under normal condition, no current flows through the pilot wire as they cross each other. In wire, here it is directly connected. In voltage balance principle, they are crossly connected. Okay. Under normal condition, no current flows through the pilot wire as they cross each other. The working of this scheme is similar to the previous scheme except for reversal of the role of two windings. Limitation of these two again have certain limitation. Limitation of wire pilot relaying scheme, it can applied only for short transmission line because of high cost of installation, because at both ends we require communication equipment, and also that communication equipment is connected through the wire. So definitely it is not economical. So it is used for short transmission line. Sensitivity of this scheme is reduced because of charging current between the pilot wires. These schemes require special tuning to optimize signal transmission. It suffers from problem of induced voltage from parallel tower transmission lines. Okay. Also, that resistance plays an important role. Resistance of, even though it is negligible, but still some resistance of pilot wire is there. It plays an important role for maloperation. So for long transmission line, we are not using it. Difference in ground potential between the two ends cause connection problem in the metallic link. The pilot wire relaying scheme is economical for short transmission line only 15 to 20 km. Hence, for long transmission line, carrier current relaying scheme is used. For long transmission line, we are using power line carrier communication or carrier current relaying scheme. Moreover, this scheme is also used to achieve simultaneous tripping at both ends of the transmission line. In this scheme, a carrier signal is used either to initiate tripping or to block the tripping of the relay. We are having two types of tripping. Either it will trip the relay or it will block the relay. Tripping relay will trip the relay to give tripping signal to the circuit breaker. Blocking relay means it is tripping, it is in the verge of tripping, then it will block the operation of the relay. These two schemes we are using. When the carrier signal is used to initiate tripping of the relay is known as carrier tripping scheme. On the other hand, when the signal is used to block the tripping of the relay, it is known as carrier blocking scheme. The carrier current protection scheme can be classified as phase comparison scheme and directional comparison scheme. Up till now in this lecture we have seen wire pilot relaying scheme. Now in next lecture we'll see this phase comparison scheme and directional comparison scheme. This is very important. Okay, so thank you.